On the 14th of February 1993, a group of 4 children found a dead body at a railway track. This body was divided into two and was very small. There was no doubt that this was the body of a little baby. This video contains themes of violence. Some viewers may find this disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for clicking on this video. My name is Omodele Salu, and if you're here, that means you're invested in true crime content as much as I am. So welcome, take a seat. I am going to be posting a lot of content like this, so if this is something that you would like, please like, subscribe, and turn the notification bell on so you can get notified when I post a new video. Now that all this is out of the way, let's get right into today's case. Today's true crime case is about James Patrick Bulger. He was born on the 16th of March 1990 to his parents, Ralph and Dennis Bulger, in Kirby, Merseyside, England. Not long after his birth, he would meet his gruesome demise, and let me just tell you guys, this case is going to break your heart into a million different pieces. On the 12th of February 1993, Denise took her now 2-year-old son, James, to the New Strand Shopping Centre in Butu. She went to a butcher's shop on the lower floor of the centre holding her son's hand. For a brief moment, she let go of his hand to pay for what she had just bought, and when she looked down, her son had vanished. She immediately panicked and alerted security. She told the mall security what had happened. She had been buying something 1 minute and her son was there, and the next minute he was gone. So they asked for his description and she gave it to them, and they said the description over the mall's loudspeakers. They were hoping that someone would come forward and say, "Look, I found your son," right? But that did not happen, and by 4:15 p.m. James was still nowhere to be found, and they decided it was time to inform the local police station. Now, enter seeing the reasons why this little boy was no longer by his mother's side, Robert Thompson and John Venables. Now, Robert and John spent the entire day causing mischief. They skipped school that day and decided that we're going to go out in the world and make trouble, and they ended up at the New Strand Shopping Center, and they were going from shop to shop stealing stuff, whatever they could easily just steal, they stole. And when they were done, they gathered their loot, I guess, and just threw it down the escalator for fun. That's what they did for fun. This got boring real quick for them. It was too easy, and they decided, look, you know what won't be easy? Stealing someone's child. One woman at the mall noticed that 2 boys were trying to get the attention of her little children. She did not think anything of it at first, but moments later she looked around and her children were gone. Luckily, she was able to find her little daughter, and she asked her, "Where is your brother?" And the girl replied, "Gone outside with the boy." Immediately, she started screaming. She ran outside and she found her son. And these boys were trying to convince her son to come with them. But immediately they saw her, they just told the little boy, "Go on, go meet your mother," and they ran off. After their first attempt at kidnapping a baby failed, they decided that they wanted some candy, and also decided they were going to steal some, not buy, steal some, right? They went to a snack shop, and that was when they noticed James. He was standing by the door of the nearby butcher shop, and they saw that his mom was distracted at the moment, so they were able to convince him to come with them. The mall's surveillance camera saw them leaving the mall with James at exactly 3:42 p.m. that day. As soon as they left the mall, James started crying for his mother, but the boys just ignored him and continued to take him to a secluded area near a canal. When they got to the canal, they picked James up and dropped him on his head. James was crying and screaming, and one woman passing by noticed this. I don't know if she noticed everything, like the whole pick up and drop on head thing, but she did notice that James was in distress and she did absolutely nothing about it. Now, when they picked James up and dropped him on the floor on his head, they left him there and just kept walking. But then they turned back and they beckoned on James to keep following them. And this baby, trusting these nasty strangers, actually stood up and continued to follow them. At this point, James had some bruising on his head and face, and so Robert and John decided to pull his hoodie over his head, but still the bruises were showing. And what is so scary about this part in the case is that while they were beating this boy, while they were treating him like shit, there were witnesses. Some sites said 38, some said like 2 dozen, but let's just say there were a lot of witnesses. And these witnesses saw what was happening. One even reported seeing them kick James in his ribs, and they did absolutely nothing about it. Some did try to intervene though. There was one woman that saw this child, saw he was in distress, and then she asked him like, what happened, what is with this child? And they said he is lost and they're trying to take him to a nearby police station. She was not convinced. She let them go and she was not convinced, so she looked back trying to get their attention, but they did not answer her again. One woman close by said that she saw James actually laughing with the boys, so it seems like they knew each other. It seemed like they knew each other, so the woman let it go. Another woman, she saw James and she was like, this child is not okay. You guys said you're taking this child to the police station, right? I am going to take this child by my freaking self to the police station. But then she had her own daughter to worry about. So she asked one woman with a dog nearby, like, look, can you watch my daughter for me? Now, this part is very confusing because I'm thinking, why would you leave your daughter with a stranger? And how hard is it for you to just take your daughter and then James to the police station, not leaving anyone behind? But then the woman with the dog said that my dog does not like children, I think, and so she left the boys with James still and just went her way. Then one shopkeeper saw them and he is worried. He's very suspicious of them. But then they said, oh, this is our little brother. He's just causing trouble and we are taking him home. And so the shopkeeper again let these boys off with little James. And it's just there were just so many times that James could have been helped, but nothing happened, right? People were just choosing to mind their business, I guess, which is really fucked up. Finally, Robert and John found the privacy they so desperately needed at a deserted railway. The boys had brought blue paint that they had stolen from a paint shop at the shopping center along with them. They took some of this blue paint and just splashed it into James' eye, right? They kicked this child, they threw bricks and stones on his body, and they stuffed batteries into his mouth. They then went ahead to hit James over the head with a 22-pound iron bar, which resulted in 10 skull fractures. In total, James sustained a total of 42 injuries to his head, his face, and his body. The brutal torture and murder of James occurred sometime between 5:45 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. that day. Now, Robert and John realized what they had just done. They had just killed this baby, and they decided to make it look like some unfortunate accident. So they placed this baby's body across the train tracks, hoping that a train will come along and just cover all the horrific shit that they did to this baby. Horrific shit that they did to this baby. Oh my God. Anyway, a train did come along and it divided this poor baby who had already been through so freaking much into two parts. The search for James began, and there were so many eyewitnesses in this case. It's just mind-blowing. A lot of them reported saying two boys and James and this little baby by the canal. So the police went to search that area, but they came up with nothing. all they had was that grainy CCTV footage from the mall that showed when James was leaving the shopping mall, sorry, with the boys. So that was it. They could not tell what the boys looked like from the footage. They could not even tell, just assume their ages or their height or whatever. They just knew that, okay, James left with two boys. And so they released this CCTV footage to the media, hoping that maybe someone would recognize something and come forward. But that also, like, no leads there. Yeah, but when James's father, Ralph, saw the footage, he was so calm. He was like telling his wife, look, our baby is going to be okay. He just left with two boys, which is so heartbreaking because your mind has to be so pure to see that and process it the way he did. I guess he feels like, or he felt like, oh, our kid is with like two kids, older but two kids, so he's going to be fine. The search for James ended 2 days after his disappearance when four children discovered his body on the railway track. All the instruments used in the brutal attack were found lying around the area. So the iron bar, the stones, the bricks, the blue paint, and they were all covered in James's blood. Now, the police has a lot more evidence to work with than before. They have the CCTV footage, the possible murder weapon now. They have the blueprint. So they start by going, okay, from the CCTV footage, they know that the killers are kids. So they are thinking, okay, maybe teenagers. So they start to go to like schools to check, okay, which children were absent from school that particular day. And they go from school to school and they're getting calls. Some parents are even calling and reporting their children, like, okay, my child is this, my child is that. I think my child has something to do. I'm like, calm down. Your child just slammed the door in your face or told you what you don't like. Please, please. Anyway, they got one anonymous call, and this caller said that John and Robert were both absent from school that day, and John had blue paint on his jacket. So the police is like, okay, this is starting to fit. So they go to like search John John and Robert's house. They see that yes, John had blue paint on his jacket, and then Robert had blood on his shoes. But still, despite this evidence, they're like, it fits, but maybe they are just mischievous children doing shit. We're still looking for other possible suspects, right? They did not immediately think that these boys were capable of this murder because they were looking for children that maybe had criminal record or did something bad in the past. So they were like, can't possibly be these boys because these are not teenagers, right? These are 10-year-olds. These are fucking 10-year-olds. No way in hell that they are responsible for this brutal torture and murder of this baby. The authorities tried to find other possible suspects, but they came up with nothing. There were no leads, and they finally decided that these two 10-year-olds could actually be our killer, and so they start interviewing them. At first, they come up with absolutely nothing, but then after several days of interviewing them, John Venables, finally confessed, and he just said, look, I did kill him, right? I did kill him. I am sorry. What about his mother? Will you tell her I am sorry? Now, Robert, on the other hand, denied absolutely every freaking thing. He said he had absolutely no idea what happened, but he did implicate himself when he was able to describe everything that James was wearing before his murder. Robert was really, really unbothered during the interview, and this was really chilling. I don't know. This is a 10-year-old that's acting like he did not just kill a baby. He's acting so unbothered about everything, and this got him the nickname by the press, the boy who did not cry. Robert Thompson and John Venables were arrested and charged with the murder of James Bulger, and 9 months after the arrest, they were taken to court. Sorry, I don't know why this is skipping. They were taken to court. Sorry, and outside the court was just an absolute mess. People were screaming and shouting for their heads. People did not even believe that they deserved a trial. They were shouting, "Kill the bastards! A life for a life." During the trial, John was an absolute mess. He was always crying, always hysterical. But Robert was just really cold. He was unbothered, not showing even like the slightest, any really bit of remorse. And the media reported on this, and people just got really, really, really freaking mad at this because why is this 10-year-old acting like a stone cold bitch? Why? And to make things worse, psychiatrists were saying that these were two normal 10-year-olds, so they were not sociopaths. And I mean, if they had said yes, these children are not normal, it would have explained why they did what they did. But now they're saying, oh, these children are very normal. It's like your normal kid at home, and people are just losing their shit because you're like, so you're saying any of our children, can just wake up one day and do this kind of nonsense. There's no explanation, no motive, no nothing. And to top it all off, one of them is acting like a witch. Like, what the fuck is happening? So it was really so complicated. Till today, they've not been able to understand this case and maybe come up with a motive as to why these two children did what they did to a baby. Robert and John were both found guilty of murder and they were convicted, making them the youngest to be convicted of that crime in Britain in 250 years. They were sentenced to serve at Her Majesty's pleasure, which is standard protocol for juvenile offenders convicted of murder or manslaughter. Now, this sentence has no maximum years, but it does have a minimum of 8 years, which is determined on like a case-by-case basis, I guess. Yeah. Okay, anyway, in 2001, these boys were now 18-ish, 19-ish, and they got out of prison because they did not have any incident, I guess, and they thought that they had been rehabilitated and they were no longer a danger to the society. So, yeah, this case is so heartbreaking. When you think about it, when you think about murders, you want to have like, okay, this adult is the killer and then these are the victims. You want to have a particular kind of victim and then you want to have a particular kind of pep or attacker or murderer. You want the person committing the crimes to be a certain way and then the person that is the victim to be a certain way. But then you have these 3 children and it's clear who the victim is in this case, James, right? But then you're wondering, they're 10. What do they know at 10? It was determined, yes, they know right from wrong, but what was going on in their minds? And it's just so hard because, bruv, I don't know. It's just so complicated. I feel bad for Dennis and Ralph because how are they going to process all this shit? Because remember what the father said, Ralph, when he was like, oh, they're just with 2 kids. So I'm sure it was like, my child is going to be fine. They are with 2 other children. Do you get? It was an adult, I'm sure that he would have reacted differently. He would have panicked, right? So it's just like really fucking sad. Dennis was able to locate Robert Thompson in 2004 after he was released, like 3 years after he was released or so, but she was paralyzed with hatred and could not confront him. It's so heartbreaking all around. Oh my God, all around, right? That boy was just 2. It was going to be 3. Just fucking rough. brings us to the end of today's case. You all take care of yourselves. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done that already, and I will see you for the next one.